Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at our first analysis of the CDL season. Today we're going to be looking at Optic Texas versus the Riyadh Falcons in their map number 1. This was a very competitive map for the first set of rotations. You can see going into the second P2 that Optic have a small lead of about 13 points as they're getting ready for that rotation. But here is where everything falls apart. And we're going to be kind of talking about this and kind of breaking down what were the decisions that were made that caused Riyadh to not be able to do what needed to be done. And a lot of it honestly came down to a very specific decision when it came to spawn blocking. So when you are looking at Hardpoint is a game mode that there are two main things that come into Hardpoint. Hardpoint is determined not only just by how well you can hold the hill, that is obviously the most important part, but the second part to it is spawn control. It's why I constantly talk about keeping your eyes on the minimap and making sure that if you are running the Codcaster or casting for Hardpoint that you are paying attention to the minimap, because keeping track of spawns is such a big point. It lets you know where players are going to be going to and from, and the teams that are able to control the spawns will control the flow of the game. And in this moment, there was a huge misplay as Riyadh is looking to rotate from this P1 into the second P2. So the second P2, which is down here in the corner, that rotation from literally the middle of the map over into hotel is the moment where this map really kind of falls apart. So you can see Optic and Riyadh, they're keeping it very close, but keep an eye on number 5 in Celium here on this rotation. So Celium currently playing on the wider approach here, is holding this angle, trying to hold that middle of the map from this fence area here. Great play out of Celium here if we are holding onto this P1. However, we're trying to move, the thought process here is the rotation from this P1 into the P2. Now, currently, we do have both Pred and Xnid are holding the rotations here. And in this current position, Optic are forced to spawn back here in the corner. So right now, they are spawning as far out as they possibly can, way back here in the corner of the map. However, Celium makes one big error here that causes them to spawn completely different. You can see it immediately here. Celium, looking to try and continue to cut off their rotation, has a great, he makes a big error here. He has the right mindset. Optic are trying to flood in up through near P3 and coming over from this side of the map. So Celium, knowing that this is happening, tries to rotate up here to cut him off. Mercules starts to cut back, using this building as cover to start maybe working his way this way from the back to near their spawn. And Hook is running a route trying to come in through the middle of the map. However, look at where Shotzi spawns here. So Shotzi is taken off the map. He's holding P1. He's sitting at old. Kismet comes in, jumps on top of him, gets the kill. Looks like Pred actually steals that from Kismet, but whatever. So Kismet gets the kill. Shotzi is dead. Right at this time is when you see Celium move up. So right at this moment here, Celium, I'm trying to take screenshots, so if my camera looks a little weird, that's why. So let me get this screenshot here. So Kismet kills Shotzi here. Celium immediately moves up and pushes out a little bit. And you'll even see that here looking at his map, at his arrow. He comes up here and kind of holds this area. He actually doesn't push out like I thought he did, so that's a goober on me. But still, Celium goes and moves up here. Okay, this gives him this whole area of map that he can work on. However, at this point, now that he's here, Celium has flipped spawns, because the game will register in this moment based on the positions of Xnid down here. Xnid has this area he can look at, controlling the middle of the map. Okay, Pred also has additional control of the middle of the map. This whole area is completely locked down by Vegas Falcons. And there are 2 areas then that when Shotzi respawns, he can go into. Okay. He can either spawn here, or he can spawn up here. Okay. But the hard part with him spawning up here is Xnid. Because Xnid technically could have this line of vision. If Xnid pushes up, then he's able to move up. So you can see it. We'll watch this back. So on the last couple of seconds, Pred and Xnid move over to P2. They get the kills. Okay, so at this point, with what Riyadh have control over, there is only one place that they can spawn. Right here. That's the only place that the game will let them spawn. To which we see 3 and 4 spawn there. 1, 3, and 4 actually spawn there. So Hook, Dashi, and Mercules all spawn up here. Because the Falcons have blocked this area by playing close enough here. And like right around here. Prevents Celium being right here. Prevents the spawn here. Which is huge for Riyadh. Okay. But then again, as we get close to the end here, Shotzzy gets killed. Celium moves up. And Celium moving up to that position right there. Given all of these positions here, at this point, Xnid is covering this area of the map, which will not let Optic spawn back here, because they could essentially be put into a blender. Okay? Kismet. Actually, I think that's Pred. Yeah, Pred, because Kismet died. So Pred has this area of the map covered, and Celium also has this area of the map covered. So taking these into account, with all of this area of the map covered, the only place that the game will recognize for the next person to spawn, this area here is wide open. Now, Xnid here, it makes sense for him to cover this area. 3 members of Optic are rushing through here. They have the cover here on the middle part of the map here with Pred. Xnid watching in case they try and wrap around the building here. They have the watch here through mid-cut. So, again, these 2 guys make sense. 6 and 7 make sense for where they're spawning. Celium now has put additional eyes over here. With Celium having his additional eyes here, this leaves this area of the map, like I'd mentioned, completely open. Kismet is dead, so he hasn't spawned yet. Shotzzy is going to be spawning first because Pred and Kismet work together to take down Shotzzy. And in this moment there, we'll see it here. Shotzzy spawns right in the corner. So Shotzzy spawns. Xnid, I don't know how Xnid picked this up, because you can even see it. I wish I could zoom in on this full screen, but you can see it here. Xnid picks up the spawn. So Shotzzy spawns and Xnid's already turning to meet it. Great. That's wonderful. However, in this situation that Optic are now in, okay, look at the problem now that Riyadh Falcons have put them in. Celium has moved back down here. So he's now he moved from up here and is now moved back down here. He's watching the middle of the map. Pred is also watching the middle of the map. Okay. So they have essentially, they actually, right at this moment too, you can even see Hook is making a play through mid-cut here. Hook is already firing on Pred. From where Celium is, he has no line of shot to anybody. If he tries to shoot, he's at this building, so he can't hit Mercules from there. Okay. He also has no line of vision over to Hook, the two people that were in the play at that point in time. Hook is already firing on Pred, so Pred will die here. Okay, Pred is not looking. This is a free kill for Hook as he wrapped up from the spawn here. Mercules is wrapping this way to knowing that Cell moved up here. Mercules wraps down this way, and that then doesn't give Cell any opportunities to shoot at him because he uses cover here and can get all the way up to the stairs for free off spawn. Okay. Now the question then becomes, where is Shotzi? Shotzi is spawned here. Xnid reads this and goes to Chow, which, again, is good heads up on Xnid to read this. However, we don't know where Kismet is yet. Kismet has not respawned. Celium has no line of sight anywhere outside of watching his teammate get shot. So in this instance now, Mercules has full range to go here and get a free kill onto Xnid because Xnid is turning to Chow Shotzi. So now we will watch how this plays out. Mercules comes in. So this is even more showing to that error. In this situation, now Kismet is spawned. Okay, because where Kismet spawns is also very important. Okay, Hook gets the free kill down here onto Pred. Celium is trying to, I think he's trying to wrap down towards the point. I'm just going to kind of look. Yeah, so he's starting to try and make his way towards the point. Great. We like to see that out of Cell. Okay. So Cell is starting to pick up middle of map, mid-map control by moving in this way. Kismet spawns here. What worse spot to spawn than right in the barrel of Mercules' gun? So that's now an immediate free kill on a Kismet. Kismet gets killed off the rip from Hook. Or not off the rip, but on the rotation. Kismet gets killed. And before he even gets a chance to do anything again, he's there. Because Cell, again, moved up here, allowing Shotzi to spawn here. Shotzi being here means the only place Kismet can spawn is there. Because here, this area right here, is now considered an optic spawn. This is no longer a Riyadh Falcons. Despite Cell being here, this region is now set up for optic to spawn. So that means the only areas of the map that Riyadh have in control are right around the point. Because with Pred being taken down by Hook here, technically the game won't register that the Falcons have control of the map. They won't see Celium moving this way and assume that that's Celium getting control of the middle of the map and reflecting those spawns. And so now Hook can move in and pinch this way. Granted, he still has to go through Celium, but we'll get to that. But Mercules has his free kill on a Kismet, allowing him to still move this way. Which, even if Kismet calls us out that Mercules is wrapping this way, Xnid still has Shotzi to deal with, as Shotzi's moving this way. And so this is now just set up unless Celium gets the kill onto Hook when he moves mid. Celium now has to choose who he wants to go for. Exid now knows that Shotzi is coming this way. So Celium will have to choose to either aim down this way and help out Exid to take out Shotzi, or try and take out Hook, because those are really the only two main targets he can look for. Hook, at this point, really only has one option to go to get on a point. And Celium chooses to go after Shotzi. So we'll see how this plays out now. So, we get the new hill. Okay. Shotzi spawns. Kismet spawns. Pred and Dashi are the only ones not on the field right now. Celium rotates back. He rotates down. Understanding the spawn from Shotzi, he immediately turns his gun, spots Shotzi, takes him down. Shotzi goes down. Dashi spawns here. Dashi spawning there, again, is still massive. On the opposite end, Pred has been respawned and killed immediately. So Hook comes down, kills Pred. Mercules takes down Kismet. Yes, Celium does get one trade on to Shotzi, but now at this point, Hook has got his gun. He knows Celium is here based on the fight from Shotzi. Takes down Celium. Exnid is now in a 1v3 situation if Hook pushes onto the point. But knowing that he's got Dashi and Mercules going onto the point, that's still a 1v2. As long as Dashi and Mercules play for trades, they get the break. They get the break, and they get control. So Hook now starts playing for spawns. Okay? Hook is going to start playing for spawn control. And Hook, knowing that Dashi spawned here, knowing that Mercules is here, Hook was up here, he now has full understanding that Pred is most likely spawning here. Because Shotzi, not long ago, was killed here. So, when the kills are all centered around this area, and Hook, an enemy, was just running around up here, the only safe spot that the game will register for the Falcons to start spawning is going to be up here. There hasn't been an enemy up there in a few seconds. There's been no fighting up there whatsoever. This is going to be where the game registers. Hook is going to read that, starts pushing here to continue spawn control. He might not push too far because he doesn't want to flip them down here, but we'll see that when we watch it out again. But Hook is able to now play for spawn control. Dashi and Mercules, easy 2v1 against Exnid. So even though Exnid knows Mercules has already got those kills, Hook plays for spawns. He's here. Yes, he's in a 1v3 situation, but Optic get the break. Shotzi gets to watch this area in case of a pinch. So yes, Hook gets a kill onto Pred. Celium trades it away. Optic get the break, and now they get time to set up. Hook going to where he did to play for spawns. He knows all of Riyadh is spawning up here. Knowing that all of Riyadh is going to be spawning up here, because Hook's got the biggest giga brain in the game, and nobody will ever convince me otherwise. Okay? Hook knows Riyadh's going to be spawning up here. Hook buys time for Dashi and Mercules to take out Exnid, and for Shotzi to spawn. Shotzi will be spawning in this red circle down here, and will immediately start to make his way here. He has a couple of options. He can either jump onto the point and help, but Shotzi chooses to watch here in case somebody from Riyadh decides to wrap, because they do have that full option. Nobody from Riyadh decides to wrap, so now they're all centering in this area. So Hook dies here. He's in a 1v3. That's expected. Shotzi watching for the wrap. He now knows nobody has wrapped. He moves forward. Kismet is trying to wrap, but instead, Kismet is met with Hook. Kismet kills him, does get the kill, and has an opportunity to get in here. But Optic are so quick on the turnaround. Shotzi wraps around. Mercules is also watching. They know where Kismet is, so Kismet's pinch is now considered completely dead. No opportunities from this point on for Riyadh to get into the mix. Hook spawns here, gets control here, and is now holding Riyadh to the point 4 that now at this point Riyadh can't really do much. Yes, Kismet got in, but he's quickly killed. Spawns work once again in favor of Optic. And at the same time, once Shotzi respawns down here, he now begins to move up to get ready on P3. Even though Riyadh get a small break here, the going towards new is the better play. Shotzi starts moving towards new. The only person who's getting ready to move towards new is Xnid. You have instead Celium and Pred trying to at least... Celium is looking to try and get middle of the map control, try and stop the cross. That's great. Totally understandable from that aspect. Pred tries to hit old. I really don't know if that was the right move. Dashi just absolutely eviscerates him. Shotzi does get taken out on the rotation because Celium is able to be there to back up Xnid, but now it's Mercules and Hook moving in towards P3. Celium barely manages to win these gunfights, trying to keep Riyadh in there, but the rest of Optic flood in. And again, Celium makes his play here. He gets these kills onto Shotzi and Hook. Now it's just down to Mercules and Dashi. They're moving in a little slow. Shotzi spawns back here. But Hook, again, spawn blocking, becoming a massive point here. Okay, Dashi getting these 2 kills here are massive. Hook spawns up here, and now it's a 4-man hit, 4v1 situation. Riyadh spawns so far out, and Optic are able to just run away with this one on this P3. P3 is meant to be a super scrappy hill, but because of the supreme spawn blocking from Optic and the way that they play for spawns in that P2 gives them full opportunity to rack up a ton of time, and then Shotzi, being the demon that he is, lurks down here and gets that free 2-piece that nobody is going to think to check up until this moment. Shotzi gets a free 2-piece, manages to swing around and get the third. Now, Optic get that final 30 seconds. Spawn blocking is so key to a hardpoint success. All the way back from that second P1 into that second P2. Celium doesn't keep Optic up where he needed to in the corner. Instead, Celium moves up, opening this spawn up here. Shotzi spawns here, causing split spawns to come in, making it very difficult for Riyadh to be able to hold their position because Optic are flooding in from multiple different sides of the hill, and from that, the rest of the map spirals out of Riyadh Falcon's control, and that allowed for Optic to win that map pretty handily, as well as win the series. That's part to their 3-0 success. So I hope that breakdown made sense. This is my first breakdown, so I'm hoping they'll get better as the season goes on. I'm hoping to kind of pick like one key moment from each week in the CDL to kind of talk about it, break it down, talk about why each team was able to get a success and where they did. I know I did do a breakdown on Shotzi's Ninja on Envoy. I don't want to spend all of my time doing breakdowns on Optic Texas. I'm hoping to find a breakdown next week for a different team. But I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Thank you guys so much for watching. I plan on doing more breakdowns throughout the season and continuing to keep things covered throughout this year. I'll be filming my prediction video for this next weekend coming up here soon, so you guys can keep an eye out for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys again for watching. It was a super fun time doing this breakdown, and I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.